Chess Master. I'm analyzing a series of games from a correspondence team match played between my Video Lessons Club and Chess.com and Español Club. And knightburgler won both his games. So let's have a look here and see what happens. Okay, so we got the Kg1 defense. Now this has been called the hillbilly attack. This is not a good move. Okay, I'll explain why here in a moment. Now, in the first place, if white takes, white is going to lose a tempo with this bishop. We go into the exchange variation, and white has lost a tempo. But the whole point of the hillbilly attack is here, and now the question is, does black take the bait? Now, what does black do here? Okay, the bait is to take this. This is not a good move. Okay, what you're doing is you're opening up this diagonal here, and white can start getting activity with Queen H5, creating threats here against F7. So black has to start moving pawns. And I'm not going to go into this line, analyze it any further. Suffice it to say, black has much better. But let's see why. Okay, so the simple move to play here after bishop b3 is simply e6. Now, this gives white a really difficult position, and let me explain why. Let me show you something. We'll go back to the beginning. We're going to discuss just the opening variation of the exchange French. Okay, now this is the exchange French, and white usually posts this bishop on d3, and black will play something like knight f6, knight f3. Black could play bishop d6 if he wants, but bishop e7 is simple and straightforward. We have an even game. But this is a nice bishop for white. Okay, it's pointed at the black king. Now in the hillbilly defense or hillbilly attack, let's go back again. Let's see. I'm going to fix this. Okay, ec6. See, e6 is the proper move. Now, at some point, white is probably going to take, as you know, this pawn is now under attack. Okay, on e4, it's not protected, and this diagonal has been closed. So at some point, white's going to take, and black will take back like he would in the French defense, and more than likely, white is going to play d4 at some point. Now, we see a big difference between this and the exchange French. This bishop is on a crummy diagonal instead of being on a nice diagonal. And, you know, some variations of the exchange French, white would like to play c4. But he may want to end up playing to c3 and have to eventually bring the bishop back to c2, where it's back on that diagonal. Now, black has the pawn on c6, but that's quite all right. You know, in cases of where, whoops, let's see, whose move is it? It's black to play. You know, in cases of c4, you know, we can just maintain the blockade of the isolated pawn. Okay, the isolated pawn is blockaded, can't advance. Now, white has some activity, but white also has some weakness. This is just an example. So, if white doesn't play for c4, he won't get the isolated pawn, but he'll be spending time redeploying this bishop into its proper diagonal. Just lose time while black is happily developing. So e6, it seems to constrict black, but you know, by shutting in this bishop. But in the long run, black does fine here, and this bishop is seriously misplaced. Okay, so let's go forward. So he decides to play knight c3 and say, well, I'm not going to push d4 yet. Now, I'm not too sure about this move for black. You know, we could argue that you're threatening to win a pawn, but do you really want to try to win, take here, then take back, and then steal this or something? Do we really want to win that pawn this early? You know, we've got a whole army to develop over here. And, you know, it's a general rule, move your knights before your bishops, but the move is playable. And I'm not entirely sure about this move, although it does create play down here. But here, after this, white's willing to sacrifice that pawn because after queen takes, rook g1, queen h6, white could in turn grab this pawn. So maybe moving the queen out was a little premature. But the queen is on a nice square. Okay, so now here's that d4 I was talking about. And, look at this bishop. When is it ever going to get in play? And black might even opt to play something like this. And, this bishop may never get into play. So how's this bishop going to get in play? White can play this, right? We can protect. See, now this bishop isn't doing so well, but it'll eventually find a way into play on this diagonal. Okay, come this way and this way. Whereas, for white to get this guy in, he's going to have to sacrifice not much. Well, sacrifice a pawn to get it in play. Eventually, this, and black's just up a clear pawn. So that was an option too. So he doesn't play bishop takes e3 check. But nothing wrong with what he does. Not sure what to do. Just develop a piece. Okay, now this is a good knight. It's, might be heading into this active square. Now here black does a wise thing. This is white's bad bishop. This is black's good bishop. We don't want to remove it from the board. Besides, not taking would let white develop his queen. So he just keeps it on the board and comes back to e7. Now c4 is a tactical oops, but black doesn't take advantage. The first thing wrong with it that I notice is you're giving up the d5 square. That's the first thing I see, but there's actually a tactic here. So now black can eventually occupy the square with a knight, but black has a nice fork. I just push this pawn, 2 pieces are forked. So white opts to go here, and black trades. And now just a simple pawn takes puts black a piece ahead with a winning position. White just doesn't have enough compensation here. As a correspondence game, you should definitely realize this is the important thing to do, is grab the piece. But black chooses not to, but he's up a pawn. And white needs to save his bishop. And he grabs another pawn. But, black's one problem where black here is his king is still in the center. It's move 16 and he hasn't castled yet. And right now the queen is getting harassed. Counterplay on f2. And, trades are only going to help black here. So, black has a completely winning game here. It's just a matter of mopping up. And he didn't win the piece, but he definitely had a winning game. Okay, another pawn. Now we have to watch out. Maybe white's going to sacrifice something down here, but it's not enough. And white can't allow a queen trade. A little discovery here. Discovered attack. Now black has had the exchange and 3 pawns. So it's completely winning. And the pawns are strong. Pinning the bishop. This forces a queen trade, but then curiously black doesn't do it. We have a chance to trade queens and win the ending easily. Just do it. It's simple. Okay, so white should run away with his queen, but he doesn't. But black's moves are still winning. Now he trades. His queen's under attack. And now here I wouldn't have necessarily defended that pawn. I would have just pushed it. Let's get it going. Okay. But the moves are sufficient to win for black. And now white must attend to his loose rook. More stuff comes off. And black is just mopping up. So one thing black could do here is push a5 and then a4, And if the bishop takes, grab this, but black has white tied up in knots. Let's see. So instead of pushing on with a4, he does go after that pawn. This works too. And at this point, white throws in the towel and resigns. So white was never in this game. It was a black game pretty much the entire way. I thank you for watching.